So this is going to be a quick presentation of the Multitasker Series 2 AR multi-tool, a weapon-specific multi-tool, which is somewhat unique. This one is specific to the AR platform, and it has a number of very unique features. And I'm going to go over them real quick. This is meant to be a companion piece to a more in-depth review that you can find on the link provided below. So, not a small multi-tool, as you can see from the size. I have fairly decent size hands. G10 handles, which is really nice, quite grippy. Very beefy multi-tool. It has a number of very unique features, and I want to start with the pliers. The pliers are a step above pretty much any other offering in the market. All the other manufacturers at this time use cast pliers. Multitasker does not do that. They instead CNC machine them out of billet. And not only that, they're CNC machined out of D2 tool steel, one of the higher grade tool steels out there. And the fit and finish are, it's just phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if you can really see this in the picture, but the way these pliers fit together, the teeth fit almost perfectly together. The action is incredibly smooth, and that's thanks to an actual ball bearing that's inside the joint here. It's not just a friction joint or a pressure joint, whatever you want to call it, that you typically see on other multi-tools. They're incredibly thick. There's no way you're breaking these. I just don't see that happening. I've actually snapped Gerber multi-tools before, just cranking with them, and pliers just snapped. I don't see that happening with these. It's almost be physically impossible. Now, one of the more unique features, of course, is the weapon specific aspect of this multi-tool. It has, for instance, a sight adjustment tool for an AR. What's really nice about this is not only excuse me, is it handy to have a sight adjustment tool, it's also a standard 1/4 inch drive bit holder. Now this is really nice because it means that even if you lose all the bits that come with the tool, they're easily replaceable, and it's also easily customizable to use with your own bits, whatever needs you may have specifically. So that's very, very nice. I really like that. All the parts for this, by the way, none of these are cast. They're either stamped out, machined from billet, or like these pieces here, they're actually EDM machined out of solid pieces of steel. Really nice. It also uses a melanite coating or a black oxide coating on all the metal parts, all the steel parts. Again, very nice. Multitasker also has a carbon scraper. You'll see some better pictures of this in the actual review on the blog. Works very nicely to clean off crud from the bolt tail of an AR bolt. And the locks for most of these tools are just standard friction locks. What's really nice is that he actually uses, they actually use aluminum bronze washers, so the action is quite nice, and those are used throughout the tool. There's also a dental pick. This can obviously be used for a lot of things, pulling cotter pins and stuff like that. What's also really nice about this is that it does come off, and the threads underneath are compatible with the Otis cleaning kits. Some of the more commonly available ones out there, military standard, military issue for a lot of things, and this can then be used for the pull-through rods. Very nice. And on the other side, you have a small knife blade. Also, what's nice on this one compared to many other multi-tools, there are some that are better, but this actually uses 440C steel, not 420 or any of these typical steels that a lot of the other makers actually use, which are really kind of, well, crap. This is a liner lock, steel liner lock. The tang of the knife has a lip that actually prevents the liner from slipping off the tang, so barring some sort of catastrophic failure, you shouldn't have any issues with the lock failing. There's also a 3/8 of an inch box wrench. This fits LaRue mounts. LaRue mounts are incredibly popular, mostly because they're some of the best mounts on the market. There's also a file, coarse side, smooth side, or fine side I should say, and the tip of it is a flathead screwdriver. This flathead screwdriver fits absolutely perfectly the screws on my Daniel Defense rail. You couldn't have done it better if you tried, honestly. It's a perfect fit, works really well, and keeps you from screwing up the screws, if you'll pardon the pun. And lastly, there's a stock wrench. Works quite nicely, allows you to get a good amount of torque onto it, and it doesn't slip. Again, wire EDM'd out. The quality is just impeccable for this tool in general. The action is very nice. It's really comfortable, largely because of the beefy handles, and the G10 makes it nice to use even when if you have wet hands or something like that. And the pliers are just phenomenal. Now, as a comparison, I actually have here one of the biggest competitors out there, Leatherman, and this is their Leatherman MUT. So this is their military utility tool. It has an absolute boatload of features, and to be perfectly honest, it has significantly more features than the Multitasker does. I don't honestly like it as much. They cut a number of corners, and I think they really try to do too much. One, the knife blade, while one hand open, you can open it with one hand, and it's nice and big. They use 420H steel for this, which is honestly just a complete crap steel for knives. You really should not be using this for knives today. I don't care what people say about heat treatment and so on. It is no good. Just say no, people. It's like crack. Okay. The knife blade is otherwise great. Saw blade, also good. You know, that's nice. It has a weapon takedown punch, which does detach. That's pretty cool, sure. I don't honestly use a punch myself much, at least not for an AR. Carbon scraper. What's kind of nice with the carbon scraper is that the carbon scraper is bronze. I'm not sure I really think the shape is all that useful, but that more personal preference than anything else. And then it has this, well, hammer, as they call it. And that's all fine and well. You can strike with it. That's fine. And they also use this part as the so-called bolt override tool. I like the one that Multitasker has a lot better because it's significantly smaller and easier to get in there. You would actually use the carbon scraper. It works perfectly well for that. Another thing I really don't like about the Leatherman is that, well, none of the bit drivers are common. They're proprietary, which means if you lose them, you're kind of screwed. They're not easily found. This is something you'd either have to order extras of, just so you'd have them on hand, or you'd have to wait a significant amount of time before you got them back from Leatherman as a replacement. So not ideal. I really don't care for that. I like the ability to use standard bits. It makes it much easier. It also has this hook cutter. Supposedly for cutting paracord and other line, and maybe cutting webbing and stuff like that. What I don't like about this is that if you look at the way the pocket clip is set up, so it's supposed to go in your pocket like this, or in the sheath, whatever, but this is open enough where you could very easily either catch a piece of your clothing on it, you could cut yourself on it. I really don't like the position of that. I think that's a poorly placed feature, as attractive as it may be to some people. I do not like that at all. They shouldn't have put it on there. Carabiner clip, yeah, that's all fine and well. I don't know that I'd ever use it, but it could be handy, sure. And of course, it has a titanium pocket clip. Titanium is good for pocket clips. It's very, very resilient. I don't like the fact that this is actually a cast piece. Cast metals have a bad track record of snapping under stress. It might not. It might be perfectly okay, but I don't know that for sure, and I have the feeling that it would actually honestly snap the first time I snagged the clip on anything. So, anyways, action on the tool is nowhere near as nice as the Multitasker, largely due to the fact that it doesn't use the same aluminum bronze washers. It doesn't have the same kind of bearings in the joint. The pliers themselves are nice enough. I do like the fact that the wire cutters are replaceable. That is something that apparently is going to make an appearance on the multitaskers in the future. As it is, being D2 tool steel, they are going to be very durable and will probably last for a long time, even in this early iteration here. So, not something I'd be worried about, but take a look at this. So, which one is beefier? The MUT is obviously a much bigger tool, but the pliers are so much beefier on the multitasker, it's not even funny. And they're not cast like these guys are. So that makes a pretty big difference in my book. Again, comes down to the whole cast metals really don't like stress, torque, being bent in any way, shape, or form. So if you really were to crank down with something like this, yeah, the jaws might snap. I've done it before with a Gerber. That was a cast plier as well. So it's eminently possible. That's mostly the comparison between these two. Another thing I think is kind of funny, or kind of annoying in some ways, is you have this little latch here to hold it together. That's great if all you're using is this. But the problem is if you forget to set it, the action is actually so loose that it just sort of flops out. It's great if you want to open it one-handed, but I don't like the fact that that latch is there. I don't like that you have to use it. You should be able to, there should be more of a detent here to sort of keep it together. It kind of just flops around. I don't like that much. It's not a bad tool, don't get me wrong. Do I think it's everything it could be? No. This could definitely be better. Using better materials for the blades would definitely be a step up. Using a standard bit driver would also be a step up. And getting rid of the hook cutter, that's just retarded. They need to get rid of that. Somebody's going to get cut on it or screw up their gear on it. It's basically just a question of time. So, all in all, especially considering the price, the MUT is about $130, $140 depending on what version. The Multitasker is going for right about $100. So better materials, it's more comfortable to use, and honestly I think it has better features. And certainly the build quality is above and beyond what Leatherman is doing right now. I will give Leatherman some props. The sheath for the MUT is actually really nice. It does also come with a wrench. This is actually a double-ended box wrench. One is a 3/8, the other one is a 1/2 inch. Fits right into the back like that. This is a pretty nice sheath. Much better than most of what you see, and it is definitely, obviously, MOLLE compatible, which is pretty much a must these days for any kind of military or tactical equipment. Quite well built. One of the better factory sheaths I've actually seen in a long time. I would like to see more sheaths like this from various manufacturers, including for knives, because in general, sheaths for pretty much anything that you get, they just kind of suck. So, anyways, look for more detail in the written review and some more up-close shots of all these tools here and some additional stuff from Multitasker. They have a lot of really cool stuff, so stay tuned, alright? Have a great day.